Hey, welcome back to another episode of 15 with Phil. It's been a while, but we're going to be rocking out. We're talking with a little health, fitness, and personal stories in the fitness industry, business owners, and passionate individuals. I'm your host, Phil. Today, I'm chatting with my buddy Rich. Up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. You guys are going to really enjoy this one today because as you can see, my shirt that I'm wearing a just kind of like a personalized Nation of Domination one from the back in the day from one of my other buddies that I met online and it supported his company. I'm like, this is really cool. But before I forget, Red 33 said hut, and we're going. But the shirt, a little Nation of Domination. But for Rich is a personal trainer of over 10 years. He's had a love for just being athletic since he was very young. And luckily for me, and this is the one thing that you, as a podcast host, you get your friends on and chat. But you're the second wrestler that I've had on, but the one that I get to really talk to about wrestling though, because Adam Badger is also a wrestler, but I didn't really talk any wrestling with stuff with him at all. But we're gonna dive into wrestling because you kind of really tie in to that with some of your media, and you showed a black eye a while back on stuff that happened. I've talked to you about my little, it wasn't even in a wrestling incident at all, but I fell off a ladder and I just kind of made it a joke about being in a ladder match and things like that. But for those that don't know, what came first for you? Was it personal training or wrestling, and how did they help each other out?
By far, it was the wrestling side of things. Like I fell in love with wrestling back when I was like between 7 and 9 years old. Like those years that you can't really remember where it was, but it's always been part of my life, and it was always such like a fun thing that I was always interested in growing up. So pro wrestling was definitely the first love, and then from there, as one could imagine, with all the athletics, the size of some of these individuals, like you just naturally, if you want to get into be a pro wrestler one day as a child, you start to do a couple push-ups, you start to do a couple sit-ups, do a couple squats, and then as you get a little bit older, you realize it's like, oh, I got to do some bicep curls. Then you start doing some bench press, and then you get into the fitness industry and realize that there's this whole new world of exercise and science behind building muscle and getting big and getting athletic and all these fun things. So that makes you want to dive into it more, and then naturally progression. Being in athletics throughout my entire life and the love for pro wrestling will drive you towards the gym, and I just fell in love with the gym, man, and became a full-time personal trainer as soon as I could.
And what age did you become a personal trainer, and what's your experience level in it now? How many years you've been doing it correctly?
Yeah, so I was certified in 2011, so I was 21 at the time. I had done a year of business in college because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. Like I
Hmm.
left high school and I knew I needed to go to school, otherwise I just wouldn't go back to school. I would have just started working as soon as I make money. So as soon as I see money in my bank account, I would have just been like, screw school, I want to chase this. So I went to business first, and I didn't really love it. It was very introverted. It was very a lot of things were seated. It wasn't very active, and I like to be active. I like sports. I like all that kind of jazz. So then I found the kinesiology program, and I went through 2 years of that. Through my practicum, I decided that I didn't really want to do my full diploma, which I think was a mistake in the long run, just opening up opportunities, and education's never a bad thing. But it allowed me to dive into personal training at 21, and just I've been rocking that for the last 14 years at this point, 14 and a bit. So coming up on 15 years in fitness, which makes me feel really old.
Never. This keeps you young. That's the best part about it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you look epically young. You don't look a day over 21. I'm looking right at you. You look super athletic and healthy across the board. How has your the background as a wrestler for yourself shaped the way you train yourself or clients?
Yeah, so I became a personal trainer at 21. I didn't get into wrestling for myself until I was 28. So there was quite a big gap between that. A lot of things happened in wrestling as you get older. Like the UFC became a thing, so it's like that was a little bit more interesting for a while. There was the whole Benoit incident, which really crushed my love for wrestling. So I really kind of fell out of wrestling for a long period of that time. But even throughout that time, like I was always kind of training to be a little bit more of I hate to use the term hybrid athlete because it's gotten such a bastardized name nowadays. But like a little bit of like that bodybuilding mixed with a bit of athletic training just to make sure that I had that core athletic base to go off of. But I wanted to get bigger. But I was also so self-conscious that I didn't really commit to like a full bulk. Because
Oh,
any
okay.
times I would like stop seeing a few abs, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm getting fat and I need to reduce that." It was such a mental game back then. Again, I look back and it's like, oh, 20-year-old me. But yeah, once I got into wrestling, like that's when a lot of things just started to click on the fitness side of things as well. Like it's funny how the alignment in your life can just happen where you find something that you're passionate about, you find something that you truly love, and then it also lines up with just like getting more experience and being in the right time and circumstance where you can kind of set together that program that helps. So it's like I was doing a lot of like power building at the time, but then I really wasn't doing any like mobility. I wasn't doing a ton of conditioning. So the wrestling side of things, like the practice there, it would focus a lot on the mobility, the endurance, the cardiovascular training side of things for training, because you'd be running ropes, you'd be doing matches, you'd be doing all this stuff. So you'd be sweating, you'd be huffing and puffing pretty much the whole time. That it complemented my training inside the gym, where I was focusing a lot more on strength training. I think I was running through the Wendler 531 program initially, kind of like wave training. And I just found that like the two together work so well. And then as I've kind of gone through and done more research about athletic training, getting into more contrast training, getting into a little bit more like unilateral training. A lot of what I didn't realize this at the time because I thought I was the smartest man in the world. But when you do nothing but like squats and deadlifts for your lower body, your hips are probably going to get pretty jammed up, and your lower back is probably going to hurt. Surprise, surprise. So adding in a lot of like single leg movements, a lot of more actual athletic movements really helped with that. So I would say like training for wrestling completely switched how I trained myself, and it just keeps kind of spiraling because like you know, even going through like some of Joel Jameson, for example, his book on MMA conditioning, I found to be just a game changer when it came to pro wrestling training because there's such a um, close relationship between those. So it just like opened my eyes on a whole new different cycle of training and then just implementing different mobility things that I've learned from like Dean Somerset up here in Edmonton. Have been phenomenal. So it's just like it's cool how all these things just piece together and make a nice little Lego collage of fitness and health.
I like the fact that you don't really have to worry about your conditioning because you're kind of getting it in with while you're doing all the wrestling, bouncing off the ropes and continuously running. And I didn't really think that you can kind of see that during that time of between was it 20 I'm thinking between 2008 2010 like when you're kind of in that range of personal training and then later on I'm saying 2015 to like 2018 where you're in that gap. MMA made it a huge explosion during that era and it just continued to climb it where it's at right now where it's literally every week now. It's almost like
Yeah.
wrestling where it's every week. It's nonstop. There's a fight of the night almost every day somewhere, something like that at some card. So there was a mass explosion of that, and I didn't really think of that until you said it right now on how closely mirrored they are because they are. It's something continuously going with either the pre-planned moves in wrestling or the actual fight of MMA. It's just continuous action, and I didn't really notice that until right now. Why I watch both of them, but it's just something you don't think about. Who do you
Yeah.
train? Oh, go ahead. What were you say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like when I was a little bit, when I was closer to finishing up high school, like the Ultimate Fighter came out, so it just kind of blew up, and I had remembered like watching. This is gonna date me like crazy, but going to like the video store and grabbing UFC videotapes because Ken Shamrock was on there, and I knew he was a pro wrestler. He was one of my favorite wrestlers, so I throw in UFC, and I'm like, "What is this? This isn't as fun as WWE." But yeah, I used to love the UFC. Like guys like GSP was a huge influence on my like what I wanted to do. Muscle and fitness, like trying to steal like different guys' workouts. Like I remember this. I'm not sure who's gonna know this, but a fighter by the name of Nate Marquardt. He used to train, I think, at with GSP, but he was a middleweight, and for whatever reason, I was drawn to him as a fighter, and his workout was in one of the magazines, so I just ran that as a workout program for like 2 months straight. I don't think I it was just it was not a great program in high. I was just like, oh well, if I train this way, and if I always had the intention of getting into some sort of martial arts, and I never did. But the idea was like get into martial arts, and then that will translate into getting into wrestling because I had no idea how to get into wrestling. So everything kind of still shifted towards that wrestling side of things. But yeah, I always look at MMA, and I remember the heydays of like the big event every month. Now that it's every week, it's a little too much for me. But no, it's awesome to see how big it's gotten.
It's like that for me because I don't watch pro wrestling every week, but I follow it. Whereas I don't follow UFC at all, and I know there's a fight every week, and I'm like, oh, it's just way too much already for me. Like I barely keep up with this. I don't want to even keep up with that. You know?
Yeah, like again, if you're gonna watch all the wrestling that there is in a week, I think somebody looked at it and it's like you have to commit a good like 12 to 15 hours a week of just watching wrestling. And that's WWE, AEW, NXT, TNA. Like it just it's almost a part-time job to try to watch everything. So when people are like, "Oh, well, I kind of follow a little bit more than I watch," it's like I get it, man. I'm in wrestling, and I don't even want to watch that much wrestling.
That was the kind of the not the downside to now I'm dating myself here to when WCW went away is that they became under one company and now there's all these other companies now. So it's just where do you watch it now? Where it's just at that time it was just those two and that was it. You're good. Now it's like all right, we got to carry this brand for this, for this, for this, and to feed into this, and it's just way too much now for me. And not to take anything away from them because they're all phenomenal athletes and it's a craft and it's an art, but it's just too much for me to follow. I could barely keep up with either Raw or SmackDown. I'm like, geez, you know. But in your training business though, who do you train? Like, what's the population? Is it general pop? How do you train them? What would you do to write a training program for them? And I do have a follow up with the training program to the Marquardt workouts there.
Yeah. So I work with a diverse group of people. Typically, most of the people I'm going to end up working with, though, have been mostly men who have gotten just like too busy to really prioritize their fitness. They love playing sports, so basketball is a big one that I personally love. So I always relate a lot more to the basketball players, some hockey players, some runners, long distance runners especially. That they want to be, they still want to play their sport, they still want to enjoy it, but they notice that they've lost the steps. One of the ways my client kind of pitched it to me, I never said this initially, but now I kind of use this all the time, is like the washed up athlete, essentially. The guy that, just wants to be able to play ball every week without their knees killing them, without their back killing them, being able to keep up with the young guys a little bit more. So it's like those are the guys that I work with quite a bit. But again, I help a numerous amount of people. Like on the online side of things, I work with quite a few other wrestlers, as well as just people looking to just get in general shape. So it's like it's hard to pinpoint just one typical person, but for the most part, yeah, it's kind of that washed up athlete that just wants to feel athletic again, kind of look a little bit closer like they did in high school versus like what they imagined the dad bod kind of looking like. So they just want to slim down the waist a little bit, be a little bit more bouncy, be a little faster, stronger, and just feel good about themselves essentially.
Okay, so you're a wonderful personal trainer, and you've come across this wonderful workout in one of these magazines of Mr. Marquardt there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and you're one of your clients brings it to you and they say that they want to do this workout. They've never done it before. They've never worked out before. They're brand new to training, but I want to look like this. I want this workout. Would you recommend that workout? And give me a little differences on what you would tell your client to that workout specific. The mark.
Yeah, if somebody had never worked out before and they found a magazine workout and they really want to try it, what I would say is like I'm kind of torn on this actually because a part of me is like give it a try, see if you like it. But at the same time, it's like let's just focus on the basics that are actually going to get you the result that you're looking for. Like if you want to look more aesthetically pleasing, it's like let's dial into what that actually looks like versus this circuit training this resistance circuit training that, you don't quite get a lot of the resistance because you're moving in a circuit. You're not quite getting cardio because you're not actually working the energy system that well. You're kind of getting the worst of both worlds, where it's like, let's try to build out a program for you where we can actually get the adaptations that we're looking for, get the result that you want to achieve in a way that's going to be a little bit more simple and effective versus like this cookie cutter, usually just like what I find in magazine workouts is that they're hard workouts, but they're just hard. Like they're not hard with purpose. It's just to get you sweaty. It's just to make you feel like you did something. But when it really comes down to it, you're not getting much of anything out of it, essentially.
So what I gather from your answer is that you actually use the said program when you're using when you're with your clients. For those that don't know, the said program or the said principle, I should say, is the science. Jeez, I can't even think of it right now. Imposed demand. Is essentially what we're looking for.
Yeah, the specificity side of things is a lot more what I look a lot more of what I gravitate towards when it comes to training my clients is like, let's be specific to your needs, where you're at. Let's like I like to keep things simple for people. As much as I think Olympic lifting is an amazing sport, it's awesome for strength, mobility, conditioning. I think it's wonderful. I think for most people to look at that as athlete, like what you need to do to become a better athlete is kind of a gross misinterpretation of like what you need to do because the majority of people out there aren't ever going to be able to learn the complexities of the snatch, clean, jerk, any of that stuff. Um, Sorry, I shouldn't say can't learn it because I think anybody can learn whatever they want as soon as they put their mind to it. But they don't have the prioritization to make it something that they should look for. And more often than not, they either bastardize the movement or they get hurt and fall out of the fitness side of things. So
Yeah, and that's
I
what
think
they blame
keeping
it on
things
that.
simple is best for most people, especially when they're first getting into the gym.
That's definitely not one thing I would recommend ever is doing any type of powerlifting to start your career in the fitness side. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm sure you use some type of I like to call like the fitness side of in math you have the order of operations, so it's
Mhm.
like for me it's like the fitness order of operations. You
Yeah,
work on specific things down the line, like all right, let's work on your actual skill, the mechanical skill of your so body weight movement. Let's look at that, let's take a look, and then let's add some load to it, let's add some power, let's add some speed, and some strength. So there's at least five ways that we can train before we get into anything else of any type of powerlifting before we even get there, so there's definitely that, and that's why I gravitate towards trainers like yourself. Like it's just some of the media that you talk about. Like today, for instance, you're talking about a kettlebell squat, or excuse me, a kettlebell swing, which is if your kettlebell swing looks like a squat, you're doing it wrong, and then you went on and you demonstrated how to do it correctly. Uh, those little tips like that take you a far way and does literally learn the basics on how to do a hinge correctly, the hinge pattern
yeah,
correctly.
yeah. There's like a certain novelty about certain movements that people really want to do a specific movement because it looks cool. I think we've all fallen in the trap of like seeing an exercise online. It's like, oh, that looks really hard or that looks really cool. And especially as trainers, like we're a little bit sick in the head where it's like, let's give it a try. And it's just like, oh, hey, like this doesn't really do much, but a client sees some of this stuff and it's like, oh, that looks really hardcore. That looks really badass. Like I want to do that stuff. And for example, like a kettlebell swing, I think a kettlebell swing is such a great movement, but so many people do it so wrong that it loses kind of where I would tier it in terms of an exercise hierarchy, right? Because a lot of people don't do it necessarily right, and there is a little bit of novelty to it, where it's like you can probably get better demands on your body doing like breaking down the movement essentially. So going into like a hip thrust, for example, for hip power and explosiveness. You can probably get more benefit out of that, but just doing it in a different way adds a little bit more novelty to it. But people are so drawn to a fancy looking exercise that they kind of skip ahead from all the basics that you have to establish first. Like if you can't do a hinge, you're probably not going to be doing your kettlebell swing right, and you're probably just going to hurt your back. So
And you're gonna blame it on the weight or something else, but not the,
you're
not
going to
not
blame it
not
on
true
me,
technique.
and it's going to be
Yeah.
my fault.
Not the technique, not anything else. With that though, what's the biggest transformation you've seen in a client, either with technique,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
form, maybe not physical though, not
Yeah,
physical.
biggest transformation I've probably seen. Like I would say the one that I've seen probably the biggest physical transformation is also the one that I've seen just the biggest growth mentally and even on like emotionally, like just became a whole new person essentially. So my client Anna, I'm sure she won't mind if I drop her name anyway. She won't listen to this. Um, but I remember when I first met her back when I was general manager at a personal training studio. And she had come in and she was just like, kind of at the wit's end, like trying to stay positive about everything, really excited to kind of get going, but like just didn't believe in herself, didn't think she could do it, didn't think that a lot of this stuff in the gym was going to be for her because she had tried it before and it sucked. Like her experience sucked, unfortunately. And it was like, unfortunately, again, I don't know the personal trainers involved anyways, but apparently she had just some terrible personal training experiences in the past. When we talked during our like initial consultation for sales, she just broke down crying, and it's like I just remember wanting to help this woman so much. And because as a general manager, like it was my responsibility to get clients in for other trainers. So I found a trainer that fit the time that she was looking for, so it could make it easy for her to get in. And she started off with the training side of things, and like again, in personal training, you don't click with everybody that you work with. So I don't blame the trainer for this. I don't blame her for this. But like there was just like we couldn't find the right fit for her with any of the other trainers. So I took on her as a client, and from there it's just kind of exploded. Like we were able to see great results. She was able to follow through on the program. We made it as easy as possible for her. She saw amazing results just physically, but like even strength wise, we got to a point where it's like, this lady was able to do pull-ups and never thought she would even be able to like lift herself up off of on an assisted pull-up, let alone doing one all by herself, like deadlifting over 200 pounds, squatting like close to 200 pounds, So it's just like, just seeing that change in her was awesome. And even just seeing the development in her real life, where it was like just more confident, picking jobs that aligned with what she was looking for a lot more, being able to go on dates a little bit more confidently again. Like all of this stuff was so cool to see. And like she's still a dear friend of mine now. She'll always check in every now and then if she needs a kick in the ass. Saw her at the gym the other day. She just underwent a surgery to remove some excess skin around her waist, and she's feeling awesome. She's still going, and just like the night and day difference between the self-conscious person that she was to the confident person that she is now was just it was a phenomenal process to be a part of. And it's just one of those ones that just when you think about that, you realize what kind of impact that you have on people's lives as a personal trainer. Not every story is like that, obviously, but I think like it might not be to the same degree, but it's definitely people get benefit from seeing people like us.
What would you say about your style fit her that that made you see did you listen to her really well? Did you scale back exercises extremely well for her? What do you think for you as at that time for her? Was it that click for her?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of the experience that I had. Like a lot of the trainers that we had didn't have a ton of experience in the personal training realm, and just I I hate blowing smoke on my own ass, but I feel like I'm pretty good like in these situations of connecting with people and being able to like chat and make sure that it's a comfortable environment so that we can put people into maybe some vulnerable positions where they might not necessarily feel the most confident in doing a specific movement, but they're willing to give it a try because you have such a good relationship with them. And that you just genuinely believe. Again, like I wouldn't say it was anything technically that I would have done. Maybe there's a little bit on the regression side of things where it's like, okay, this movement clearly isn't working. Let's listen to what she's saying, listen to the issues that she has, and fit in a different exercise. Sometimes people get too caught up in doing, like, this is the program, so this is what we need to follow, versus like, hey, this person can't do a body weight squat, so instead of doing this goblet squat, let's do a TRX squat. Like just being able to on the fly switch things up because something's not working and not panicking and not being like, okay, we're fitting the square hole or square cube into a round hole or anything like that, right? So it was a lot of that. Like again, and there was some. I remember there was like a little practice that we had that might not technically be the best, and I probably would not use ever again. But she had a lot of self doubt, a lot of negative self talk about a lot of the stuff that she did. So anytime like she couldn't hit a specific rep or couldn't get to a certain point or was getting tired in a movement, she would really say sorry. And it's like there's no reason to say sorry in this situation. Like you're not offending me, you're not hurting my situation, you're not doing anything bad. So again, gonna say I don't do this as a trainer anymore, but we had to put in place this burpee rule, where anytime she said sorry, she would do 5 burpees for me. So again, not to make exercise punishment. I don't advise that whatsoever. But I think bringing awareness to the fact that she was saying sorry so much for a bunch of things that you don't need to feel sorry for, I think that mindset shift really helped with the rest of it as well. So it's like you don't need to apologize to somebody else for something that you're doing all
Yeah.
the time,
There,
right? Like I
yeah,
think
there
that
was
really
something
helped out too.
deeper there for her that you were able to like kind of like listen to and kind of tweak that changed everything for her. That's just awesome listening as a coach, man. That's what I'm picking up from what you're telling me right now is you listened to her and you thought on the fly of something that's gonna change this. And again, I'm not a fan of burpees either. So who's gonna want to do that? So I will never ever say that. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I don't
that.
love hate with burpees. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. I do a quick warm up in them. All right, get them in, and that's it. For me, I don't ever. I don't think I ever told at the house here. I've never told anybody to do a burpee just because I just don't like them like that. Like I hate doing them. So I'm never gonna have anybody go through the torture of me doing them. So never again. I was a football coach for many years, so up downs were basically like a burpee, and I just hated doing that forever and a half. People thought I loved it, but I absolutely hated. Why? Because we were wasting time. If we were doing up downs, we were wasting time, and we could be doing something completely something different to be getting better, and that just kind of aligns with me. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah. So on the flip side of that, burpees. While burpees, like again, I'm on the same boat as you. I feel like they're kind of a waste of time. Don't really need to do them. Every now and then, I'll just sprinkle it in for a client just to put the fear of God in them. Um, but for the wrestling side of things, I find burpees are actually a pretty functional movement. We'll use that as the term because there is a lot of like up down that you need to do in a lot of these movements. So being able to mimic that in the gym when you don't have access to a ring, I find could be a benefit for people that are in those sports. Things where you do need to change elevation, so like wrestling, for example. Um, but again, they're 9 times out of 10, I don't think I've programmed burpees unless it's just like somebody has no equipment at home and they just need something to do.
Yeah, just elevate the heart rate real quick. You can get a
Gotta get
bunch of
the
them
hurry up
in.
there a
Yeah,
bit.
you got to do a bunch of them real quick. And uh, what's one training mistake you see almost everyone make, whether they're new or experienced?
I had a hard time answering this one. So like, because there's so many. I think one of the big mistakes that a lot of people make is that they look at exercise as a way to lose weight rather than a way to build strength and build ability. I think that would probably be one of the
Phenomenal
biggest
answer.
mistakes. That and just I could go on a whole tangent here, but like, people doing too much too soon, people doing again more novelty exercise workouts that don't really help that much. But often than not, I see a lot of people, especially when they're not working with a trainer, really talk about like their fat burning workouts that they're doing, and it's just a core workout. Like it's just a bunch of ab exercises that somebody online put up, and it's like they see the guy with like 3% body fat and 9 pack abs. And they're like, this is how I lost fat, and they do like this bullshit core circuit where it's just like it's all just flexion anyways, right?
Yeah.
It's like leg raises and sit-ups and crisscross and more sit-ups, and it's just like you're just doing the same movement over and over again. Like your abs are gonna hurt, but you're not doing jack shit for anything else.
You're
So it's
not
like,
burning
I,
fat.
well, that, and even like doing the zone two cardio, right? Like that's fantastic stuff, and I think people should do a ton of it. But they're not doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it because they're in the fat burning zone. And it's like the fat, it's like there's a difference between utilizing fat for energy versus actually losing body fat, right? Like it's like an electric car. You're running on carbs, you're running on fats. If you use a lot of fats, guess what? Your carbs are going to be used after that. So you're just at that balance. What you want to do is make sure that your tank is a little bit lower, so you don't need to do both. Yeah, it's just it's the increased focus on like, oh, I'm going to lose weight if I'm doing this workout. It's like, no, it's nutrition. Nutrition was what's going to change body composition. Like 10 out of 10 times. Exercise will help supplement, and it's going to make sure that you don't look sick, essentially,
Yeah.
when you lose weight.
Yeah.
And that you actually have like some shoulders, you have some arms, you're able to walk up a hill when you've lost some weight, right? Like muscle atrophy is such a big thing when you see people losing weight, and it's just, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make when they look at an exercise program is that they look at that as the fat burner and they worry about how many calories they burnt rather than graduating from like the 20s to the 22 and a halves when it comes to like your chest press or something, right? It's like there's too much focus, I think, on the scale and not enough on the process to make the scale move, essentially.
Phenomenal answer, Coach. What's something you recently changed in your business? Sorry about that. Ran way too far ahead. I went into business. We're still talking about training. Sorry. Uh, if
Oh,
someone
good.
if someone uh, is listening is in a funk or unmotivated, what's your go-to strategy to help them restart that momentum?
Yeah, I love this question. This is something that I went through in the past couple of months because I was in a bit of a funk and just couldn't really get the ball rolling. I find it's like a negative feedback loop, right? Like you don't do something, so you beat yourself up about not doing something, so you stress out about it, so you eat like crap, so you sleep like crap, so you exercise like crap, then you're mad that you didn't do something, and that you just keep going in this cycle. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that I have for people is try to do one thing to break that cycle, essentially. And what I'll do is essentially come up with a very, very short list, like 2 to 3 things of just non negotiables. Like, what are those 3 things that you need to get done each and every day to make you feel just that little bit of accomplishment? Because if you can, you know, get up 15 minutes earlier and brush your teeth as soon as your alarm goes off versus scrolling on social media for 15 minutes and then scrambling out the door, that's a big win, right? If you can read 5 pages of your book that you want to finish every day, you can fit that in. That's pretty fantastic, right? Or just remembering to take your vitamins, take your supplements, or take your creatine, or make sure that you have your protein shake, like whatever it might be. Just have those 3 things that you can do every single day that are easy for you to do. Because when you make it easy for you to get those things down, then it's easier to start getting that ball rolling. So instead of thinking about, I'm either on the tracks or I'm off the tracks. Instead of that mentality, I think it was Luca Hocevar who said it. It's like, instead of all or nothing, think of all or something. You're either all in or you're doing something off. It's not everything. So it's like if you had a bad meal, that doesn't mean that you skip your workout tomorrow. If you skipped your workout, that doesn't mean that you just give up and have the happy meal. McDonald's here tonight, right? It's like you
Extra
want to be doing
calories.
something to keep yourself going. So I really like that kind of mindset. So you don't need to be 10 out of 10 on your workouts. Just go for a 10-minute walk to kind of get that momentum back up. Go in and do some stuff that you actually like. I know that people give everyone shit for doing like a specific arm day that aren't bodybuilders, but sometimes it's just fun to go in there, crush arms, get a nice pump, and like look in the mirror and be like, oh yeah, like my arms look great. And all of a sudden you have more desire and more drive to get to the gym. And then maybe one day you'll look down at your small calves and think, I need to do some legs. Like it's just, it's one
Good.
of these step by step things that you just need to slowly implement, right?
Oh, I love that. Well, first off, what I love the answer is it's the three things. It's actionable things. You want to take action in something, and it's something that you build your staple on in who you are as a person. Your is what you believe in. Your For myself, you named a couple for me. It's my daily walk. It's reading a couple pages. Lately, this past year's been audiobooks, and I've been trying it. I'm not a fan. I like reading. I like actually reading the book. But yeah, getting my pages in and drinking water. Sometime at some point in the day, I usually knock them out within the first 15 minutes of the day. I'm like, all right, I've done my three. I'm good. It's a good day, you know. But those three things, as long as you get them done.
Yeah, and that's the thing with a lot of people when they're struggling with motivation or anything like that. Like I like to tell people motivation is just a feeling. Like you don't feel happy all the time. You're not going to feel sad all the time. You're not going to be motivated all the time. So it's like you do need to take action. People think motivation causes all this stuff to happen, when really it's like you need to take action, then you see the result of that action, and that motivates you to do more of that action. So it's like if you're sitting there all day with a dry mouth and then you have a glass of water, you're like, "Oh, hey, drinking water is actually pretty good for me." And it's like, yeah, so maybe you should have a little bit more. Try having that at first thing in the morning, right? But like I said with the workout side of things, a lot of times people will jump to like 10 out of 10, right? People are trying to be that perfect, live that bodybuilder life. And again, shout out to the bodybuilders who can do it all the time, but like there's no reason that your average person needs to live that life where they're eating nothing but chicken, rice, and green beans, having meal prep all the time. They need to chug back 3 liters of water every single day. Like these things are great if you can do them, but you want to pick the non-negotiables that are going to work best for yourself, right? And where you're at now. Don't think about where you were back in high school. Like if you were working out 6 days a week in high school, but now you got, two kids, you got a full-time job, you have your spouse you have to look after, you have a dog that you have to walk, you have all these other things. All of a sudden, your workout that used to take 2.5, 3 hours, that's not the workout that's going to work best for you. You need to get in and out. Like you need a half an hour workout. And that might mean like skipping a little bit of like biceps or maybe skipping a chest workout one day, right? It's like you don't need to hit the entire checklist, just hit one of the checks when you're doing it. Like start simple, start slow, and just build. And just build, build, build from there.
Along the lines with Luca Hosever, I think RP Strength they put out a couple of those the other day too, where it's like I think it was like the meal consistency meal where it's like the same like the green beans and chicken every day, but they had like green beans and chicken every day or whatever it was, and then like the next week it was like pizza, green beans and chicken, and then a burger, green beans and chicken again. So it's like that's consistency. Where most
That's
people, to me, the way I see that is like this is discipline, this is consistency. There's two different things. You want to be
100%.
consistent in your life. Like disciplined people are
110.
like you said, those are the bodybuilders, those are the people that are for the shows and all that other stuff. Whereas most people they need more of the second option of just being consistent. Continue to have your burgers and your meals, but just be consistent and add more of the stuff that you're not having.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate that like you can see changes in your body and still go out for a happy hour with your friends. Like you need to be able to have those types of situations where you can't look at food as like yes or no. And it's just like your workouts. Like if you miss a workout, it's not the end of the world, but you still need to do them. Like sometimes we fall too far in the way of like being a little too easy on yourself. Like you do need that accountability of like if you want to see the changes, you need to do the actual work. So it's like it's finding that fine line, but again, it's better to do a little bit of something than a whole lot of nothing, right?
Absolutely. Literally myself put out a reel the other day. If you wanted to make a change, these are the three things I would do: more protein in your diet, more protein and veggies in your diet, or protein and fruit. I'd add more steps in, or more walking, whatever it was, and I'd add more workouts in. That's how I would just change my,
Let's do a list.
you know, just a list. Knock these out, and you'll see something in that. Uh, as a trainer and you're running your own business, and you were a manager at a gym for a while, behind the scenes in business and with training and all the fun stuff for running a gym, what's every trainer business? What's a challenge that every trainer runs into uh, as they go into coaching or as they're starting up?
Yeah, I think marketing and sales are two of the areas, and I think they tie together so well that like almost every trainer struggles with quite a bit, especially when getting started. They're like we go to school for the fitness side of things. We go to school because we want to help people change their bodies, want people to feel stronger. We want to coach them on how to do all these things and like have fun with it and all of that. But the problem is they don't really teach you a lot about how to get said clients in front of you, right? They don't really teach you how to market yourself. Not not to the degree that I think is real life practical, right? So that's like a hole in a lot of certifications that I found personally, and where I find like a lot of younger trainers struggle with when I talk to them. So it's just it's finding a different marketing path and just getting over that mindset that sales is something like slimy. I think a lot of people look at like the used car salesman and poor used car salesman. There's somebody probably down the street just trying to make an honest living, just doing his best in the world, and he's getting shit on by a couple guys on a podcast. But and they're just doing their thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's getting that out of that mindset of being like you're trying to like force somebody to buy this from you when really in reality you're trying to help somebody. So you just need to present how you help somebody and allow them to make the decision like do they feel comfortable and trust you enough to work with you, or are you not the right fit for them, right? So it's like they're coming to you a lot of times in the fitness industry. You're not like going and hassling people on the street, I hope. I don't know how everywhere does it. Uh, but most people are coming in for a reason. Like they want to make a change. So all you need to do is just have that conversation. Like, what do you want to change? What do you want out of your life? What do you want that to look like? And then you just basically have to plug and play what they tell you. Like, sales is more listening and understanding than these silly little Jedi mind tricks that people try to sell online of like, oh, well, you need this ultra mega package that everybody's on, and it's just like just help somebody out in front of you, man. Like, if they like you, they'll pay you. That's how I look at it. Um,
Absolutely. I agree with you.
and,
And
and you
yeah,
know,
selling is hard, but as long as you can understand, people are going to tell you no, and you're going to get more no's than yeses, you'll be fine. But it's when you beat yourself up over about it. And you mentioned Luca earlier, and I'm such a big fan of him, and I've seen him a
okay.
bunch, and he's amazing. I'm learn I not that I struggled with it, and that was one of my questions for you in your training business. What are you struggling with right now? But one of them, I was like, well, I'm not getting enough business. Well, just use the 3x3 rule that, or I think it's his is the 5x5 rule or 6x6 rule, whatever he calls it. But 6 people a day within a 6 mile radius, or 3 people a day within a 3 mile radius, and your business will grow. So I've been doing a lot of that, just literally talking to more people around here, and more people are interested. How hard is that? It's not that hard at all.
It's funny that you bring that up because like one of the things I've tried to increase a little bit more focus on like social media and everything, and it's like varied rates of success in terms of like the social media numbers. So it's like views still suck, not millions of followers or anything like that. Um, but uh, but sometimes you lose the real world applicability to it all. Because I had a guy that came up to me at a wrestling show that follows me on my page, and he's like, "Hey man, like I did that workout that you recommended the other day. It felt freaking awesome." I was like, "Oh, yeah, there's real people that watch this. It's not just about getting all the numbers in the world. It's about reaching the people that we actually want to talk to, right?" So I find that to be just one of those interesting little tidbits. So it's like when you just focus on the people that are around you, like those conversations become so much easier because number one, you have something in common with them. They're right there with you. And number two, it's easier to get into the talking, the conversation of it all, right?
That must have been made you feel so awesome having someone at a show come up to you, tell you, "Hey, I did that workout." It must have
Yeah,
been like that would probably have been the last thing you were expecting someone to tell you.
to a degree, like this has kind of become a recurring thing because, like, again, the
Oh, okay,
Edmonton
okay.
scenes, it's like you see the same fans a lot, and a lot of them know that I'm a personal trainer. I work with a couple different fans too, with their fitness goals and everything like that. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's like anything, you know. You just feel like really grateful that you get to do this stuff when somebody comes up and is like, "Hey, you know, this really helped me," or "I've been really using these tips." Because it just makes you realize like you're not just shouting into the void, because sometimes it can feel that way when you're on like the socials and everything like that, and it
You're
becomes
lonely.
such like a status seeking game
Hmm.
sometimes, and like you get in your own head about it. But you know, it's cool when people can actually take the advice that you're using and tell you that it's working. Because sometimes you like to think that everything you know is perfect, but when it's not put into practice, people don't see the results, right? So it's cool to see those tidbits being used. It's really fulfilling, and I'm really grateful for that.
More action from your clients, from people who follow you, from your fans. I absolutely love that. Well, okay. So if you can go back and give yourself some advice when you started training clients, from what would you tell your younger self? So you got into it again at 21, but as you're going into it, you probably learned a whole bunch of things. But what would be something different you would tell yourself now?
Dude, like there's so much to it. I was so just kind of in the moment in my younger years, like when I was 21 to probably about, man, I even want to say to 30, like basically my 20s. I was just so like caught up in what I was doing versus like what was going on around the world or what was going on outside of just my little world. You know, my early 20s, it was all about partying, chasing girls, finding friends. You know, I was felt like I was a pretty self-conscious person, so I was looking for validation in other places. Um, so I think like if I was to tell my younger self, like number one, you don't know everything, so get freaking on education. That would be one of the big ones. Number two is like put out the information that I do know much more or information that I'm learning. So again, like writing articles much more. Because I used to really like blogging when I was in my younger years, but I would just kind of put up random blogs and then I'd look at them and be like, "Oh my God, this is embarrassing." So I just
Mhm.
deleted them all.
Yeah.
I was like, I wish I would have kept going with that kind of stuff because that's kind of fun stuff to look back on and be like, "Oh wow, this is where I came from. This is where I am now." So doing a lot more of that. And just not being so closed-minded about things. Like I remember like again, I'm old. I remember when Instagram first came up, and it was like, I don't want to use social media. Like that's lame. Like that's so dumb. That's not going to do anything. And now we're all on social media, and that's like a primary marketing drive for a lot of people, right? It was the same thing with like TikTok. It was the same thing YouTube, you know, like not feeling like I was smart enough to make a YouTube video, essentially. And now, don't get me wrong, technology has advanced a lot and editing has become much easier to do. But
Yeah.
like, I knew how to use like iMovie. So it's like not waiting for opportunity, I guess. Okay, let me come back around and get this all back in the track. So tips I would give myself when I was 21-year-old stupid me, do more continuing education because I really didn't commit back into that until I was like 30, which is kind of embarrassing to say. Um, really put like don't be afraid to put yourself out there because I was very self-conscious and didn't want the criticism or anything like that. So like make videos, make blogs, put yourself out there and just see what happens. I think
Post
those
it.
two would have been like game changers when I was much younger. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm doing that stuff now, but if I would have done that years ago, like I look back at those years and I don't want to say they were wasted by any means because it got me to where I am now. But I think there would have been a lot more potential opportunity and just changing the way I was looking at the world at a younger age. I think that would have helped out. Would have saved a lot of money at the bar, that's for sure. Um, would have saved a lot of heartache and a lot of dumb decisions that I made along the way. But
That's what our
but
20s
yeah,
are for, though. They're done the dumb decisions.
dumb decisions and piss poor money planning, that's for sure. But yeah, I would definitely advise people, like especially because I had my diploma in kinesiology. For some reason, I was sitting on my high horse, like, oh, I know everything because of this. And then you meet a guy like Dean Somerset, for example, who knows like everything just like that, and I'm just like, oh, so I don't know shit.
I don't know a fraction of what you know, Dean. Teach me your ways.
he's just so quick with it, right? Where it's like I have to sit there and be like, yeah, I think this and this and this. And then it's like maybe I'll stumble into the right answer every now and then, but he's like, no, it's like this. It's like, oh,
Thank, yes, sir.
yeah,
You're
yes,
Yoda. You're Yoda to me, sir. Yes, teach me your ways.
yeah.
Well, I guess before I let you go, the last question I'm gonna ask you, or and the follow up with that video is, how do you balance training your clients and your own workouts and wrestling?
Oh, yeah. Well,
And what
everything.
does this successful week like look like to you?
Yeah, so like balancing everything, like everything has its definitive like times in my schedule. So it's easy for me to look at the day, look at where I have my clients and say like, oh, my workout fits right there. So I prioritize that. I make sure that that's always in there. Typically, I'll have a structured workout 5 to 6 days a week, probably twice a week doing more conditioning work, a little longer, slower duration cardiovascular work, and then 3 days a week of resist or 4 days a week of resistance training, just depending on how the body feels. So I find that that's just like needs to be a staple in my day because it's just like something that I love, it's passionate about, and if I don't, I feel it when I'm in the ring. Client wise, yeah, I've been fortunate enough to build a schedule where I have a little bit more control over it at this point. So when you're first starting out, unfortunately, you just kind of gotta eat the shit and kind of be there whenever people want to come work with you and
Yeah,
make a living, make that client base. And then as people come or as people go, you just kind of start shifting into an ideal schedule. And so I have a pretty decent schedule at this point. I'm not having to work until 9 p.m. anymore, which is fantastic.
that's phenomenal.
Um, those are pretty dark days when you're living up here because it gets dark around like 4 o'clock, right? So when it gets dark at 4 o'clock in the winter, and you have to be there until 9, whew, it's bad. The summers we get lots of sunshine. And then wrestling is kind of the weekends, man. Like usually it'll be a Friday, Saturday type situation. Sometimes you got to drive 5 hours one way, 5 hours back the same day for the I guess 4 hour show. I guess you got to be there a little longer. So another 5 hours for the show itself.
Ugh.
So like a 15-hour day can be a little long. Um, but yeah, you do it because you love it, right? So that's how I fit everything in. And sorry, what was the last part of that question? Yeah, success on a weekly basis. Yeah, it's I probably should define that a little bit better to myself and just what success looks like. I find that again, I'm a little hard on myself. I always I have people I look up to that seem like they have never-ending gas tanks. And I try to keep up with that, and sometimes I just burn myself out in the process. So it's just still kind of learning how to push and pull myself and where that success lies. But yeah, success honestly is like every day I'm above ground, I think is a nice little success in its own
Absolutely.
self. Every day I get to do something that I love. Like there's a lot of times I get too focused on where I'm not and don't take a look at where I am and where I came from. So I try to do that a little bit more often nowadays, just to get some perspective and be like, okay, it's not all that bad. Life's all right. We're gonna get
You're
through.
you practice a lot of groundedness, man. I really really respect that and love
I wouldn't
that.
say a lot. I would say we're working on it though.
You practice it more than you think you do. You do.
Fair enough.
Okay, so after that, what's next for you? Either in the gym, wrestling, life. What's coming next for Rich? And
Yeah, in this inside the gym, like personally for myself, I had a big goal to bench press 300 pounds, and I got there. So now by the end of the year, I'm striving for maybe a 315. Try to get 3 plates on there. 3 pound plates versus these kilogram plates, which are killing the way my workouts look. Looks so much cooler with bumper plates on
oh yeah.
them. It's but yeah, so working towards that. This year really didn't go into it with any like fitness goal. I know that's like fitness faux pas. It's like, oh no, you can't. You need to have a goal all the time. My goal this year was just to play around with different programs and just kind of see how they go, see what I like. So it's been a pretty successful year. Found a lot of programs that I like. Body's feeling good. It's great. Again, 2 separated shoulders and able to get back to a 300-pound bench press. It's pretty badass. Um, life's good right now. Again, it's just chipping away at the business side of things. Me and my girlfriend just bought a house, so love that for us. And yeah, like just trying to enjoy a little bit more of life outside of work, I think would probably be the big goal there. And then, yeah, wrestling. Wrestling's a weird place because it's like I'm 35, I'm 5'7". I'm probably not going to go too far in wrestling, but it's like let's see how far we can take this. So this weekend we actually I don't know if you know who Gabe Sapolsky is.
Not familiar, no.
I believe he used to be the promoter for Ring of Honor, but
Okay.
now he's a WWE like scout. He's part of the ID program. So I actually have a seminar with him coming up on Friday, show on Saturday,
Well,
and then
that's exciting.
yeah, we get to do a big show at Rogers Place, the hockey arena here in Edmonton, in January, which is going to be really cool. And then from there, it's just like keep entertaining, man. Like just try to drive some stories for people to get behind. Try to make just a little bit of an impact in the people that are around. I guess that's kind of both fitness and wrestling is try to make an impact on people's lives. Just try to bring a little bit of joy, add a little bit of goodness in this world that seems to be ever crumbling around us if you pay attention to social media.
No, I couldn't say it any better, man. Bring some goodness, man. Jeez. Well, that's. I heard before I let you go, the Rogers Center when I was there in Canada with you guys. It's like the talk of the not of Edmonton, but like of the hockey world. It's supposed to be really beautiful arena. So I do
It's
want to check it
incredible.
out. Yeah, I do want to check it out. So that's pretty cool. You get to do that. Being around wrestling, WWE guys is always good. You never know. You could do something extremely well. You give the promo, you do a specific move, and the guy might like you. You never know, man. That could be great. You could be, D'Lo just rocking the head or whatever it is, type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thing. So it could be something, man. You never know. Matt Cardona just came back as what's his name, Zack
Zach
Ryder.
Ryder.
So it can go either way, man. And I'm in your corner with that, and I wish you luck and all the success in that.
I
Uh,
appreciate that. It's funny that you say that because Mr. Dolph Ziggler himself was actually just in Edmonton a few weeks ago when I was on a show with him. So I just got to meet him, which
how
was really
cool! That is epically cool, Mister. Was it goes now Nick Namath? But he went by Dolph Ziggler
yeah,
the other day, but it's Nick Namath, right? With TNA. Yeah,
TNA.
I think he's a stud. His career derailed
He's
me, but
great.
he's
He's
got.
he's amazing and such a nice guy in person as well. Like he was very friendly, very courteous. Didn't have to stand there watching the matches after he was done, but he did, and it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That makes me happy to hear that, dude. Very very cool. Do you have any questions for me before I let you go?
What
Anything I
got
can
you
do
into
for you?
wrestling, man? What are you like? Tell me about a
Man,
little bit about your wrestling fandom here.
I remember watching, I don't know, it was like probably like a Saturday main event. Hogan came out and I was glued to my friend's TV and I'm like, what is this? And I became a fan of that. And you mentioned, videos. I was the guy going, we had a couple video stores where I lived at in my previous town a couple miles away. And I was the guy renting 99 Royal Rumble, or sorry, 1990 Royal Rumble, 92 SummerSlam, 91 Survivor Series. Like that whole era that was on VHS, I was renting those as a kid, watching them on VHS at home on the weekends. That's what I wanted to watch. And I remember, I don't know, I think it was SummerSlam 91 or 92, Ultimate Warrior winning Rick Rude, and he's just flinging the title above his head. I always remember why, I have no idea, but I just became a lifelong fan, and I've just watched it ever since. From that time to the Attitude Era to the new generation and aggression, everything from then until now. Like I've just been a fan. I've never not watched it, never not followed it. I know two wrestlers. I know X Pac and I know Enzo. Enzo's a good buddy. He's a pretty cool dude. He's a goofy dude, in when you see him on social media and stuff. But in person, the guy's phenomenal. He's really about the kids, and that's what I love about him the most. He's about the kids. So, yeah, that was me. It's just watching it. I have my good buddy Jesse. We always send wrestling stuff to each other back and forth. That was what got me into it, and I'm more of the art of wrestling, where now it's more of, as Matt Hardy says, the spot monkeys now, where it's just kind of like spot after spot after spot. I'm not a fan of that. I was always a fan of Bret Hart was always my favorite wrestler. So if you know that, obviously you know where he's from, where you're from. That is what I loved about wrestling, the chain wrestling, the psychology of the wrestling, how to tell a story, and how entertaining it was. That's what I enjoyed most about wrestling, and I would be the guy watching the hour-long Iron Man match because it was awesome or whatever it was. Yeah, that's how I got into it.
Bret Hart fans around here.
I bet. Oh, I do. I have to wash. I just threw my Owen shirt in the wash the other day.
Who's
One of the sites I got an Owen t-shirt and I love that shirt.
who's the Mount Rushmore then for yourself? Your top four. So we got Brett.
Yeah. Oh, it would be Brett. It would be. That's so tough.
I know.
Uh, God, because
It,
he's such a good talker, it would be The Rock.
there you go.
Yeah. I'm actually a big fan of Mr. Perfect as well,
Okay.
and I'm very old school on that. So the last one probably for me would be probably Roddy Piper.
Nice.
He was
Okay.
so big in the LA area back in the day. That's where he made his splash before he went over to WWE. He was huge here in LA, and I didn't know that till later on in life. And once I saw him in WWE, I'm like, oh, I love this guy. Yeah, but it's still hard because it probably changes every month now. Every time someone asks me that question, but it will probably be Bret Hart for sure, and Roddy Piper. Them two are going to be up there, and then the other two will probably change. But The Rock has kind of been floating around because of how well he did his the last boss character, and how he kind of brought wrestling back to prominence again when he started doing all that stuff with Cody last year, and it's like wow, it's a big splash again. So
Absolutely. And then like what's your favorite match of all time, man? If you had one match to show somebody.
ooh, ooh, ooh. Um, that's a damn good question. That's a really, really good question. It would just because it brought out a lot of emotion. It would probably be Taker against Shawn at WrestleMania, the first one, the last two that they had because of telling them a wrestling match. If it wasn't that, maybe Bret Hart's win against Ric Flair in Saskatoon for his first title win because that was a really good wrestling match.
Drive by that
Um,
center all the time, man.
Really? Oh, send me a video of that when you drive by that. I need to see that. That's cool. That's a wrestling nerd for me right there. I want to see that arena. Uh, Another good one would be Brett versus Owen in WrestleMania 10 or not 10 or whichever one Owen won. Um, and then Brett and Perfect at their Intercontinental title match, or Brett and Bulldog in Wembley Stadium. Any of those matches that have like high emotion where you just don't know who's really gonna win, those are the matches that I would show people. This is why wrestling's cool. Like this is why,
And do you go to any local shows ever?
Really, I don't though. That's the funny thing. I don't. Um, I'm still trying to get in contact with them. I knew someone. Had worked with someone's sister that worked at the spot, but where Ronda Rousey got trained at is actually here, or is actually in my hometown, Bell Gardens, which is the city next door. But it's in some like little warehouse, and they have shows there. But I've never seen one there. I've been to a couple. I went to a Raw once, and I went to SummerSlam. I went to when Brock Lesnar beat John Cena, and Suplex City was completed at that SummerSlam. It was here in 2015 or 2016, and me and my buddy Jesse were just watching. We're like, why is John Cena just getting thrown around? This is kind of weird. And sure enough, that's when Suplex City was the thing after that. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, I just asked because last year I got to work against a tag team from California. They're Suavecitos. They're with West Coast Pro, so I don't know how close San Francisco is to you, but
That San Fran, that's up north. That's about 6 hours from me. Not too
oh,
not
okay.
close, but I'll still drive to
That's
San
not that
Fran.
close.
Yeah, I'll still drive to
Not
San
that
Fran.
close for a
That's close for
wrestling
me.
show.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check out. And then like, what's happening with your Packers, man?
Well, we did get a win. We did get a win against the Giants. We had a comeback win. We didn't look very good, but yeah. Ever since the Browns game, we haven't looked very complete on offense. Yesterday was a good win, but we just haven't looked. Or this week was a good one, but we haven't just looked complete on offense, man. And
Yeah.
who's your football team up there?
I got the Texans. Like
Okay.
the only reason is because they came into the league when I started actually knowing what football was.
Mm.
So it was just like, oh, okay, this is the one. Um, Although I used to play, what was it, like NFL 99 on my N64,
Oh,
has Brett
oh,
Favre on the cover. So it's
oh
like,
yeah.
so Packers have always had a good place in my heart. And I actually picked them to win the Super Bowl this year. So I'm really hoping that they pull through here.
Well, if J Lo does
And I
it, he
have
would be.
Jordan Love in Dynasty, so I need
Uh,
him to do well.
yeah. If he does everything right, he'll join Brett, Bart, and Aaron as winning the Super Bowl at 27, which is so awkward. I don't know how that happens, but it's just so weird.
That's part of the reason why I want to win. I want it to
Yes.
be that weird record that just every every couple of years when you have a 27-year-old that's been with the franchise since day one, you win a championship or something.
I need it. Give it to me.
Hilarious.
It's been too long, so we need one. But yeah, that's another thing too. The pack. I didn't have a team forever, and I latched on to Brett Favre when I was a kid, and that's how I became a Packer fan.
Oh, fair enough.
The
I was
Rams
gonna
were
say,
here in LA, but then they left, and when they
yeah,
left, then I was a little kid, so I was like, I don't have a team. Who am I gonna watch? So Fox 11 always showed Brett Favre. That's my guy.
baller. Sweet,
Yeah.
man.
Man, those are some good questions, dude. I really appreciate the Mount Rushmore one.
Better
I
than my own
really
podcast.
don't. No, that's great. No one ever asked me about really my Mount Rushmore because it becomes this hour-long discussion. Like, damn, who could I put up there on mine? Like, fuck, me, I get myself.
Yeah.
You know, again, that's why for those that are listening, I knew I was gonna nerd out on the wrestling thing, and you can see the joy that I have when I talk about wrestling. If you don't understand my joy of wrestling, there is one specific picture that you need to look at, and if you Google it, it's just Google Homer Simpson with the wrestling sign, and it just says local man, and it's like a newspaper thing. He's holding up a newspaper clip, and it's just the biggest smile he has on his face. That's me, just the goofiest, and on the newspaper it says local man thinks wrestling is real, and it's him holding the newspaper, or maybe it's Lisa and him, he's inside. I don't know what it is, but you'll see it and you'll understand the joy because of that photo.
Again, life's too short, man. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. Like, don't let people bring you down. I know wrestling is kind of a niche thing, but I think a lot, like, anytime somebody comes to a wrestling show, they have so much fun. And it's just such a good time for everybody. So it's like, I don't know, wrestling is just one of those goofy things that it's just like, just go enjoy your life, man. If you don't like it, go do something else. If you love it, as John Goodman says, let your geek flag fly, man. Like, just embrace it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Wrestling for it is, and it is goofy, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So thank you. Let me be goofy. This was phenomenal. I
Yeah,
really, really appreciate you letting me nerd out on wrestling a little bit with you, Rich. If you have any other questions, concerns, please let me know, man. I'm here to help you grow. Here to help whatever you need. Let me know. I'll have this up, for everyone to look at it. 15 with Phil, hanging out with Rich. Probably later on today.
oh, sweet. I
Yeah,
love it,
probably
man.
later on today. I don't really do a lot of editing, man. I just literally throw it up there, man. I let it be as authentic as possible, man.
So I don't have to worry about you like clipping certain parts and just taking it out of context, eh?
Nope,
Like, let's get some
nope.
controversy here, right?
Yeah, none of
All about
that.
the clicks. What can we say? What can we say? What's something completely obnoxious like oxygen's bad for your lungs or the no
Water's
water
terrible for you.
diet?
Yeah,
The no
water.
water diet. There you go. You can't have anything with water in it. It's bad for you. Did
Okay,
you
we
know?
just gave enough time
Did
for
you,
people to take it out of context there.
did you
I
know
let it go.
99? Did you know 99.9% of people that have drank water in their life die?
Wow. Yeah, they're falling to the ground right
Yeah,
now as we
water's
speak.
clearly not healthy.
You hear that? Water is not healthy
Okay,
for you.
okay, cut. I'm done. I'm done.
This was great, dude. Uh,
Appreciate you.
Anytime you want to do this again, please let me know. I would love to do it again, even if it's just
Anytime.
Zoom talking, just wrestling, dude. I would love to do that, dude. This was great.
The All Wrestling Podcast coming soon.
Please, that'd be wonderful. Rich, you have yourself a great day. Enjoy the gym later. Tell your clients I said thank you for sharing their stories with us, and you just have a phenomenal week, man. Thank you.
Thank you.